Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here, coming at you today with a little bit more Kamen Rider Gavv news. We got another image, or another couple images, mainly focusing on the image of the belt, giving us a better look at it and what the gimmick looks like. So we have this image, kind of looks like a toy promo, and the belt very much looks like a combination if you combined aspects of the build driver with kind of the crank thing, and it looks like the open mouth of a frog. I think it's just meant to be some sort of creature, but it just looks like the open mouth of a frog. Definitely a little bit more clunky looking. I think it fits the kind of vibe of the series that we're seeing so far for sure, but I definitely liked with Gotchard that we got a little bit more like a sleek thing, you know. Don't get me wrong, I like some of the creative aspects we can get, but that is one thing I liked about Gotchard is, for the most part, I think that things felt a little bit more streamlined. I think we got a little out of control, so this definitely seems like we're going for more weird again. But mainly the thing I wanted to focus on, which I thought was interesting looking, was, I think we saw a little bit of it the other day, was the little gimmicks. They look like little, honestly, little milk cartons, but they're meant to be like part of the gummy monster gimmick, but they look like little milk cartons, and they kind of have this mode where they're like closed, and then they open and they become these little creatures. They look very interesting. I actually kind of dig them in a way. This definitely makes me feel like this series is going to lean towards the silly, but like I said yesterday, you really can't tell with these type of things, because when I first saw Gaim, first impressions was it was going to be a more kind of loud in your face series, and while it certainly had its, you know, fun and quirky elements, it was a much more serious series. And not that I'm hoping for a dark, serious show for adults necessarily, I'm just hoping for better than Gotchard, but I do always find it funny when Toku will have those juxtapositions. So the idea of having this really silly gummy gimmick and these little funny dudes makes me feel like it would be really funny to have a kind of darker storyline. I just think that would be interesting. I also wouldn't mind if it was like quirky enough to be enjoyable, or like a weird series that's like, well, weird, but still engaging. Not like in any way structurally like this, but like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That series is like balls nuts, but you can also be invested in the story, but also laugh at how insane it is. Anyway, this whole thing's the work of an enemy stand user. I actually kind of like the little monstrous dudes. I don't think I'm gonna buy this. You know, I got all excited with my Rider hype from last year with Gotchard, and I was like, I'm on Rider high, I love the design, I'm like, oh cool, I like card gimmicks, this is a slick driver, the voice is an annoying crackhead, and I picked the driver up, and not only did Gotchard disappoint me, so like my excitement around owning something from something I liked was gone, and then the driver was super glitchy. I don't necessarily expect that with this. I've been having a lot of problems with card drivers in the recent years. Both of my Deca drivers broke. My original one and my complete selection one, where you like put a card in and it's like, and same thing happened with the Gotchard driver. So I don't think I'm going to be picking this up, even though I like the looks of the little monster dudes. I wouldn't mind being able to get my hands on one or two of them just for like fun, because I kind of like the way they look. I just feel like this definitely is going to have a more annoying voice. I know that I guess they like that over there. I just kind of hope for something more balanced. Like ideally, I would like them to have cooler voices. I'm just not a fan of the voices, or like the voices like Boombot has over on Boom Boondra. I think it would be nice to have another cool sounding voice like Gotchard, and also like calibrate the jingles. I feel like we've gotten a little too crazy with the jingles. That's what I'd like to see, but I actually do like the look of these little monster guys, and we do get another look at them in one of the rider cards we got. It kind of shows more of them in the background, and I'm curious if they're gonna try to go for like another collectible monster idea like the Chemis. I think it would be funny if it worked out better, because obviously these have differentiated designs, but not as different as the Chemis, at least from what we see. And I think it would be funny if, like, with Gotchard, they were really trying for, like, the Pokemon thing a lot. Like, obviously with this, they're still wanting to go for, like, hey, these are, like, little collectible creatures, get them. But I think it would be funny if, like, they went harder on the Gotchard stuff, and it just didn't work out as well, but then this takes off, because I'm already kind of endeared to these more than the Chemis. Like, I do like the Chemi designs, and like when I see the cards, I'm like, this is actually cool, has potential. That's the thing, is outside of many of the things I don't like about Gotchard, one of my top 3 most frustrating things about it is it has so much potential, from the rider designs to the Chemi concept. There's been glimpses of it, whether it's in the design or an episode, I'm like, this could have been something. And so I actually really like these little mini guys, and I think they could actually be funny, and I think it would be funny if they wound up taking off more or connecting more as something you're kind of endeared towards. This is kind of a weird example, but kind of reminding me of how in Ryusoulger, you only really had, oh my god, what did they call the T-Rex in that series? Tiramigo, I think. He's the only one that had like a character, and I quite liked him. And I kept thinking when I was watching that series, like, I wish that all of them, or at least the core 5, had personalities. I think that could be a lot of fun and make the series kind of stand out a little bit, and kind of reminds me of stuff I liked about Go-Onger. And they really only had him. I think Terra had a little bit of personality. But then you had the following series, Kara Major, have their mecha, I think, stand out more with personality, and they were literal rectangles. And I thought that was hilarious that it's like, Ryusoulger would have been primed for that with actually living, moving bots, and yet it was the series where they were rectangles. So I think that would be funny if, like, they went out all in on this creature design in Gotchard, and it didn't work out as well, but then these little milk cartons worked. But I don't know, we'll see. I'm keeping an open mind. The more I see the design, the more I like it. I'm not going to pretend it's a night and day thing where all of a sudden after yesterday's video I love it. But I appreciate it. Like, a lot of people are kind of hating on it, but like I said, in my opinion, it's just kind of the most inoffensive design. It's not pushing the envelope, and it's not like a core classic throwback. It's just kind of, yeah, that's a Kamen Rider. It does kind of remind me, and I think this is my very basic brain kicking in, it does kind of remind me of Shinobi, I think, with the purple, but it was making me think this kind of reminds me of the Geo Riders, where it seems very basic and quickly put together. I do kind of like, which I didn't notice yesterday, the silver gloves, and he's kind of got this element where like the purple will fade into like this yellowy orange color. I think I do kind of like that. It feels a little bit too busy, but there's elements I like, but we'll see. I am kind of excited for more news to roll out, just because I haven't gotten to talk about Rider a lot, because the next thing on the docket outside of any sort of ranking that might pop up is going to be my finale and series review for Gotchard when that's done. But this will maybe give me Rider stuff to talk about as we continue to cover it. But what do you guys think? Are you warming up to the suit a little bit? What do you think of the gimmick? What are your hopes for the voice and whatnot? I also want to say, probably pretty obvious for me, I hope we get a different style protagonist. I mean, not only do I hate Hotaro, but I'm just not a fan of that style of protagonist. But even setting that aside, as I've said in the past, even though that's not my style of protagonist, I just want them to vary it up a little bit. As outside of Geats being a little bit more jerk-like, most of the Rider protagonists in recent years have been semi-similar, and I just hope we have something different, even if it's like a different kind of annoying. It's kind of like with the Gold and Silver 6. I'm like, just give me anything different and I'll be happy, like at this point. It would be kind of funny to have a more serious protagonist, just again, that juxtaposition would be funny of having a gummy-based Rider with a grim, dark character. You can almost make like a parody of it if you wanted to. Kind of like, I honestly didn't expect Taya to not be such a loudmouth in Boom Boomger. Like, seeing the series, I'm like, oh, this is like the prime territory for an annoying loudmouth Toku character. And I'm like, oh, I was pleasantly surprised. So I'm really hoping for that. I'm not necessarily looking for the main character to be my absolute favorite, but so long as I can tolerate him, because that's the thing, is the main Rider isn't always my favorite, but so long as he doesn't drag down the rest of the show, that will go a long way for hopefully liking Gavv. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.